You're listening to the Gridiron and Wine podcast, where three girls, two Brits, one Yank, discuss the beautiful game of American football whilst drinking delicious wine. Enjoy the show. And welcome back to the Gridiron and Wine podcast. I'm Liz, aka NFLGirlUK, and with me are my co-hosts Dayna from Our Turf Football and Shona from 99 Yards. In this episode, we'll be discussing the coaches under fire and taking a detailed look at the current playoff picture. But first, we need to hear all about Shona's trip. Shona, you're currently in the US, having explored various cities and catching a number of games. Why don't you tell us all about your trip?
Oh, wow. Where do I begin? It's been so I've been away for just over 3 weeks now. I think I've seen a sporting event in every city bar Chicago, because not much was going on when I was there. And I feel like at the moment I'm a permanently exhausted pigeon. But I'm working through it.
So funny. You're ready to get a long sleep.
What I did like was the comparison between tailgates at college and NFL. I thought, the Seahawks were quite fun. Monday, not yesterday. Sorry, because obviously there's not much space around the stadium. So I went to one of the parking lots that did have a wee tailgate, and it was super fun. Like everyone was. Excited to be there, and actually ended up being filmed for a credit union commercial. So, so we need to look out for that. Is it BECU? Is that what they're called? BECU?
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So they filmed me and a couple of the other UK Seahawks fans.
That is so random.
That should be fun.
An American credit union. That's bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
So, that's what I'm going to be in, apparently.
Amazing.
So, but Washington's tailgate on Friday was insane. They had boats, guys, on Lake Union. They had boat parties before the game, and then they just went on their boats after the game and sailed off home. Like, that is just insane.
And you also got to go to the Michigan State? Is that
it was Michigan State? It was super fun. The tailgate was really fun as well. It was such a good game too, like such a good atmosphere. And I think there was like 111,000 people in the big house when I was there. So it was full of yellow and blue, not a lot of green.
No, not a lot of green. The funny thing about it is that you came at the perfect time for college ball because you came during rivalry week. And that is just crazed across the entire country. I'm so glad you got to grab that because it's a completely, college games are fun no matter what, but when it's rivalry week, oh my goodness, it's always another notch.
Oh yeah, Washington was insane. I think Washington State got a really early touchdown and the whole fans were just going crazy. Like they were just like, why are we letting them get 7 points already? And it was like, guys, it's like 2 minutes into the game. Like,
take a breath, relax. It's intense. Apple Cup is intense.
Yeah, super intense. And especially now that the head coach has left. So, at least he got the last win for, his tenure.
It is. So you also got to experience a variety of weather. When you landed in Chicago and they were supposed to have that huge storm, I started laughing. I'm like, you poor thing.
It was -12. So I arrived in my trainers and because that's what it was like when I left the UK. And I said to my mom, I was like, I can't even feel my ankles. I don't even know if they're still there. I'm walking and I think they're there because obviously I'm moving, but I don't think they're alive.
Oh my God.
It was really cold. And then Ann Arbor had snow. And then by the time I got to Detroit, it wasn't too bad. And then the rest's been okay. And weirdly, everyone says it rains in Seattle, and it hasn't rained the whole time I'm here.
No, not this time of year. It doesn't rain as much. Yeah. That's funny. I'm so glad you had a good time. You know, the one thing that America does well is sports. And so I'm glad that you got to do all those fun things.
Yes. And thank you to my Seahawks for giving me all the emotions I could fully range out of my body in that game on Monday.
Exhausting. It was exhausting. I couldn't watch the third quarter. And that was the quarter they did well in. And I couldn't watch it.
Halftime, I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what Russell was doing when he got picked, like trying to like bounce it back. And then I was like, we're just going to lose. Like, Kirk Cousins is actually playing well. I was like, what is going on? And then the third quarter, I was like fully ecstatic. I was like 17 points ahead. And then he just did that massive throw. And I was like, oh, sugar.
Yeah. I don't think you said sugar.
I didn't. But for the podcast, I'm being polite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which was your favourite game out of all the ones you went to?
So surprisingly, I really liked Washington State. I didn't think I was going to like that one that much because just like I've been obviously banging up so much going to Michigan, and then I also really wanted to go see Seahawks. But like the atmosphere at that game was just so good. Like their chants, like their bands were getting involved, like in the stands, which you could hear more, I think, in their stadium rather than the big house. Just the way it's like laid out, and it looks right onto Lake Union, and it was just such a good atmosphere. Like I really enjoyed it. It was insane, and obviously I loved the Seahawks game, but you know I have more writing on that. My emotions. So as a neutral fan, just to go and experience it, Washington was really fun.
And that is one of the most beautiful settings for football. I don't know if our listeners know, but the University of Washington stadium is literally one end of it is on the lake. And it opens up over the lake. And it is just absolutely gorgeous. So you have downtown Seattle one direction and this beautiful lake the other direction. And so if you can go in and not be stressed out as a fan and just enjoy where you are, it is amazingly beautiful.
Yeah, you're right. The scenery was so good. Like I just loved it. It was like, you know, I did have a Washington hat on because like I went up, like I went to a tailgate. I had like my Aberdeen scarf on, which is like kind of like a crimson sort of pink. And they were like, you can't wear that in that game. Go get yourself a hat. And I was like, okay.
That was probably safest. Yes.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, it was definitely safe. Yeah. So yeah, it was really fun.
And how was your Thanksgiving experience?
So yeah, Thanksgiving was super fun. So like I stayed in the hostel for Thanksgiving, so they did a meal. So like everyone kind of like got speaking to one another. In the morning, I went for a walk up to Lake Union, but it was so weird because like nobody was on the streets, and that's the like quietest I've seen a city since I've been here. Like I was literally walking around, and I think I saw like 2 people going to Starbucks the whole time I was like walking. And then I went to catch some of the Thanksgiving games. So caught a little bit of the Bears Lions. The Lions performance surprised me because I'm at Ford Field and they kind of did the same thing. So yeah, it was really fun to like just see how you guys do Thanksgiving, and like it was so nice to like just have that meal and to chat to everyone in the hostel and from different places around the world. So I ended up having a meal with someone from Brazil and Singapore. So yeah,
wow,
it was really fun.
Amazing. Did you get to see any other sports besides football while you were here?
I did. I went to see the Boston Bruins in Boston, which was so fun.
Yeah.
They are incredible, and their goalkeeper is like, I mean, he is so flexible. I don't even think I could get my leg past my ear, like how flexible he is. Insane. And then I went to the Knicks as well against the Nats, which ended up being a lot closer game than I thought. But it was super fun being at Madison Square Garden. Like it's like out of this world, the atmosphere in there.
Oh, it sounds like an amazing trip.
Yeah, I'm jealous. It looked absolutely incredible from your pictures too.
Yeah, it really does.
It was really fun. Like, it's got me into ice hockey a bit more as well because I've never seen a game before, so I didn't know where to look. Like, I was like, where is the puck? Like, I don't understand. They're going so quick.
Yeah,
but it was really fun to like see how that like obviously looks like live because I've only ever seen it on TV, so it was good to see.
So different, yeah.
So different.
Yeah, I can't stand to watch hockey on television, but I'll go to a game in a minute. They're so fun.
That's what I'm thinking now. Because when I watched it on TV, I was like, yeah, well, it's okay. But like when you watch it live, it's like, oh my god, like what's going on? Like, and they're fighting over there. And by the way, but he's down there. You're like, I don't know what's going on.
It is awesome. Well, it sounds like you had an amazing trip. So, ladies, I think we definitely need to cheers to Shona and her fantastic American adventure. Cheers!
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 Let's start with the news of the Ron Rivera era coming to an abrupt end in Carolina. The Panthers fired head coach Ron Rivera after a 4-game losing streak and the fact that they're heading to their 3rd season of not making it to the playoffs. So obviously it was time to say goodbye. Now, off the back of that, there's now speculation that this is going to signal the end of Cam Newton's tenure with the Panthers too. What are your thoughts on this, ladies?
I think they probably can release him, and they probably will, which I know a lot of people will be upset to hear. But, you know, if they do it at the end of this season, because he's only under contract for 2020, then they will release him at a penalty of just $2 million in dead cap while opening up more than $90 million in savings. Obviously, Kyle Allen has shown some good performances, but he's sort of been inconsistent. So they could maybe give their rookie quarterback, Will Grier, a shot. But, you know, if in likelihood that they do release Cam, then he'll go into the free agency as an attractive candidate, even though he is now undergoing surgery. You know, he still showed some like good signs during his tenure at the Panthers, and I still think that's enough to get him a job elsewhere. The only problem is he could be going into a free agency with a lot of other good quarterbacks that could be picked up as well. So it's really interesting to see how that will work, and it could actually be a stage. It could come to a point that he might have to take a backup job somewhere. Maybe that's like a really big speculation, but you just never know in this league, and that's like the kind of like the beauty of it.
You know, you're absolutely right. And then it comes on the news that Cam Newton has decided to have surgery on that ankle. They announced that this morning, when it is baffling because he could have done it a month ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But the minute Ron Rivera gets, you know, canned, all of a sudden he's like, oh, I need to have surgery on this. And I think that is the sign that Cam Newton is not going back to Carolina, that he understands that a new coach is going to want to start from scratch there. And, you know, rightfully so. The funny thing about this, there's twofold. They have Kyle Allen, who, you're absolutely right, Shona, he is completely inconsistent, but he's also a baby. And so does this new coach, is he going to be able to look at him and say, I can mold this kid to do what I want him to do? Maybe, maybe not. But who could that new coach be? Who knows? I mean, God, every year we talk about all this coaching going everywhere. But what I think is other part I think is fascinating is that the first thing that every media member and everyone said the minute Ron Rivera was fired is he will coach next year. There's no question. He will be picked up. He is so respected. He is so beloved by this league and everyone in it and all the owners. And he's a proven winning coach. He's just been struggling the last few years. So, and let me tell you, injuries has killed that team every single year. But so then let's look, you know, it's like, so he'll definitely be somewhere. And, Cam Newton gets let go. He will start somewhere in the league. There's no question. It's baffling to me that a coach that gets fired is guaranteed a new job, and a quarterback that's going to probably let go is going to get a new job. Then why didn't it work in Carolina? What is that? There?
That's a fair point, actually.
Yeah. And so it makes you wonder, was it just a rift between Cam and the rest of the team, Cam and Ron and the rest of who knows? And so sometimes just a new situation, a new town can change everything. So I think both Cam and Ron Rivera will be just fine next year.
Okay, well, let's cheers to Ron Rivera. He's had a great career with the Panthers, and good luck with what's next. Cheers, Ron.
Cheers, Ron.
Cheers, Ron, and I'm sure you'll be at another job sometime soon.
All right, ladies, so let's go ahead and talk playoffs. Now, yes, I know there's still 4 games left, and I've been getting this on Twitter over and over. Don't count your chickens, Dayna. I'm counting my chickens, so just so you know that. But the interesting thing is this week for Our Turf, I wrote an article about the Buffalo Bills. Now, why does that matter? Because the Buffalo Bills are going to end up in the playoffs, and it's amazing. So this week, we're going to look at the entire playoff picture here in just a minute, but I want to start with the Buffalo Bills. So I don't know if everyone realizes, but the Buffalo Bills are 9-3. The Buffalo Bills, that little tiny team in Western New York, 9-3. And what else that means? They are 1 game behind the New England Patriots. Raise your hand if you can remember the last time any team at the end of the season was that close to the Patriots in that division. And so it is so exciting. It's exciting for Bills fans. It's exciting, I think, for the AFC, because it shows that there's other teams besides the Patriots and the Chiefs that are starting to kind of come up a little bit. And the Ravens, I'm never forgetting the Ravens because they're number 1 in the league now. But it's fascinating to me that they, last year, everyone was all, upset about, the whole team, to be quite honest. It's like their defense was always good, but Josh Allen had these, mix-ups and had a few issues and, kept turning the ball over left and right. God love it. But he's improved so much this year. And so one thing we have to remember about this is that the Buffalo Bills have not had a 10-win game since 10-win season, since 1999.
Wow.
Now, it has taken a long time. They've been to the playoff once in that entire time period, and that was in 2017 out in the wild card round. But I remember how excited the Bills fans were about making it to the playoffs then, because they had, at the time, was the current longest streak of not making the playoffs. And now I think it's the Lions. But so anyway, so it's really exciting for the Buffalo Bills. It's exciting for the AFC. And it's thrilling. For our listeners who may be newer football fans, because I know sometimes in the UK we have some newer football fans, which we love, the Buffalo Bills used to be the powerhouse of the AFC. They went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, which has never happened again before or since. They went for 4 years in a row. They also lost all 4 years in a row. They went to the Super Bowl in the early 90s. So this is huge. And being able to see this team rebuild and have such great defense and offense that's coming along and a great run game. They are ranked 5th in the run game in the league. God love Frank Gore. Congratulations to him for moving up to the 3rd spot in the all-time running. And so he has done great. And then they have Devin Singletary too. Josh Allen is getting there. So it's exciting time for Buffalo Bills fans. I encourage everyone to go over to Our Turf, read my article, just because the back history of this is so exciting for Buffalo Bills fans. And I think that by the reaction I got on Twitter to this article from the Bills fans, they're ready to be noticed. They are ready for people to pay attention. So it was real fun. But let's talk playoffs. So before we get to the whole mix of who might play who, where, and when, let's talk about who can clinch this week. So we're looking at the Buffalo Bills so far. The AFC. No one has clinched so far. The Ravens can clinch the playoff with a win and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. And then that gets them the NFC North division title. And Pittsburgh will probably lose this week. But anyway, and then Baltimore clinches at least a playoff berth with a win. All they have to do is win this week, and they're guaranteed to get into the playoffs. So the Bills, they will clinch a playoff berth. This one's a little more complicated. If they win and Oakland loses and Houston loses and Indy loses, that's a little bit taller of a stretch. Kansas City will clinch the AFC West division with a win and an Oakland loss. New England will clinch a playoff berth with a win and then a whole bunch of tie situations and a Houston loss and an Indy loss or tie, and then Oakland has. So that one's a little more complicated, but they just need to win and they'll at least get into the playoffs. But how great is it that we are going into such a late part of the season and they haven't clinched yet? Because traditionally, the New England Patriots have already clinched the division by this point. So that's very exciting, and that is due to the Buffalo Bills. Now, in the NFC, the New Orleans Saints obviously have already clinched their division because that division is kind of a disaster. San Francisco can clinch a playoff berth with a win and a Rams loss. I love that San Francisco has to have Seattle beat the Rams in order to clinch the playoffs. And then the Seattle Seahawks will clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie. So that's kind of where we're at. Everyone else is kind of still up in the air, which makes for fun football toward the end of the season, if you ask me. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so now let's look and see who is what and where. Now, the three of us, we are Seahawks fans, so Monday night was hugely important to us as Seahawks fans. Is now the Seattle Seahawks are in the 2nd seed. The Saints, of course, hold that tiebreaker, even though they have the same record. They did beat the Seahawks earlier this season, so they are the number 1 seed in the NFC. Seahawks are number 2. Then that leaves in the Vikings, the Packers, the Niners, and the Cowboys. Now, ladies, how frustrating must it be for the San Francisco 49ers, who are now the 5th seed, behind the 6-6 Cowboys? But that's just how
I know, right?
football works. And it makes no sense, but that's where they're at. In the AFC, the Ravens are the number 1 seed. The Patriots are the number 2 seed. They, again, have identical records, but the Ravens have the tiebreaker over the Patriots, beating them earlier this season. And then we have the Texans in the 3rd seed, the Chiefs in the 4th seed, the Bills in the 5th seed, and the Steelers still in the 6th seed. So there's lots of teams in the hunt. The Titans are still sitting there. The Raiders are still sitting there. Obviously, the Rams are still there. The Bears, somehow the Eagles are still in, could possibly still win their division over the Cowboys. God, what a mess that one is. So it could get really interesting really fast. Now, here is my question for you guys. You know, looking at the NFC and the AFC, do we expect these top 4 teams to stay? The Ravens, the Patriots, and the Saints and the Seahawks? Or do you think that we'll have a little bit of shifting later on throughout the last couple of games of this?
Well, I think Niners game against Saints this weekend is huge. Because massive. Because, you know, I think that will determine where the NFC West kind of finishes up for me. But then also I think Seahawks-Rams is massive now, because obviously the Vikings lost on Monday, which was a huge loss to them. And that means the Rams are now in contention to bump up a spot if they beat the Seahawks on Sunday. So there is lots of ifs and buts and circling round, and it's you know what, I think this is the most exciting I've been towards the end of a season in a long time, because I feel like most of the time you kind of know already who's gonna be in. And then there was a really funny meme like I saw earlier today. It was like all the division leaders being like showing their record, like 10-2, 10-2, 10-2, and then you had the Packers at 9-3, and then it was like a big Teletubby hand that came in for Cowboys at 6-6. And everyone's like, what is going on? But it was just, it's really interesting. I even find that division fascinatingly interesting. So yeah, I can't wait, and I think it could potentially stay the way it is, but it's so close, and that's what makes it really exciting.
So yeah, I'm kind of with you in it. Yeah, it's been super close. And Dayna, you asked, do we think that Ravens, Patriots, Seahawks, and I think you might have said Cowboys, can't remember.
The Saints.
The Saints, sorry. Yes, Saints. Well, will they kind of stay where they are? Actually, a little bit of me thinks that this is it. This is kind of where it sticks and stays. I would love, obviously, to see Patriots finally not, but kind of can't say that's going to happen, because it probably won't. But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice for a change, right?
Right.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Come on, Lamar.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, wouldn't it be funny? Because, you know, it's been years since the Patriots haven't been or the 1st or 2nd seed. It just is. And kudos to them for it. I can't even wrap my brain around the Patriots having to play a wild card game. Like, it seems silly.
Could you imagine?
It can happen. It probably won't, though. If you look at the Patriots and the Bills, if you look at their upcoming games, the Bills have it slightly more difficult. Not much. They have to play the Steelers, and the Patriots get to play Miami, you know, but they end up playing each other in week 16. And I think that game, if the Bills can win that game, that'll be just a huge shot for them getting into the season. I look at this and I think that there is going to be some shuffling. I really think that Cowboys-Eagles, that could end up flipping. And how crazy would that be? But as a Seattle Seahawks fan, I will never, ever say a bad word about teams that are 7-9 going to the playoffs, because when that happened for Seattle, they did win their division at 7-9, which is funny because now the NFC West is one of the best divisions in the league. At the time, it was definitely the worst. And they went in and beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the Saints, in that wild card game. That was the famous Marshawn Lynch Beastquake run that was in that game, and it was so fantastic. But I do think it'll be interesting. I will say, too, I don't really – in the AFC, I think we're getting pretty set. I think we're getting pretty close to set. I think it's – the NFC is so tight. I think it could be crazy. And there is a chance that the NFC West could end up with 3 playoff teams. And how crazy would that be?
Wild.
Yeah, absolutely wild. So, yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think these last games will be really, really, really stressful for most of us, especially if you're an NFC fan, but I think it could be a lot of fun. So I want to cheers to all the teams currently in the playoffs right now, because takes so much work to get here and to stay here. And we see a lot of these teams over and over. And so, kudos to them for, putting in the effort and getting to where they are. So cheers, playoff team.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so speaking of the lovely NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys still sit top of their division with a 6-6 record, just at the .500 mark. But, as we've just mentioned, that division hasn't really fared well at all this season. However, I am sure that at the beginning of the year, this isn't how owner Jerry Jones envisioned it panning out. Now, questions have circled around the head coach, Jason Garrett, for a few seasons now. And Jones's comments about how he is sure Garrett will be coaching in the NFL season is hardly a resounding endorsement. In my opinion, Dak's performance last season basically saved Garrett's bacon. But again, they lost to the Rams in the playoffs. And Jones is obviously wanting a Super Bowl. He's not made it like a secret that that's what he's aiming for. I'm sure Garrett fans will take comfort in the fact that Jones said he's our guy, but how much do you really believe about what he's saying? But it's about wins and losses in the NFL. So my question is to both of you. Is Jones just biding his time and winding down Garrett's contract and saying, thanks for your work, see you later? Or is he truly seeing if his head coach is up to the job of getting those vital wins?
Man, this is tough. I will tell you, I get tired of hearing this storyline every single year. How many years are we like, is this the year Jason Garrett gets fired? Is this the one? Because it does come up every dang year. But I will say this. There's a couple of different factors here. They have had success under Jason Garrett, just not the ultimate success. And I honestly think that he deserved to keep his job for as long. And I know that a lot of people will disagree with me on that, but I really think they do. What's baffling to me a little bit, Jerry Jones has no problem spending money, and he will dump as much money and as much effort and resources into putting this team together the best way he can, except for when it came to Earl Thomas. That's still completely confusing to me. But he would not pay for Earl Thomas, which was weird. But and so I think that the question is, if you have all that money, you have all the resources, you have all these abilities, you have that amazing stadium and practice facility, then why isn't it working? Why can you not get to where you need to be? I think the answer then has to come down to your head coach. And at some point, you have to give someone else a try. You have to.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So I thought it was quite interesting. Obviously, so this interview sort of came off. It was a radio interview, and that's kind of where it's come from. So they were talking about what it takes for a coach to win a Super Bowl, and they were talking about the different qualities. And Jerry Jones basically kind of was. It's really weird how he worded it. Basically, so he was making out like, yeah, okay, he's got the skills, but just sort of wasn't really kind of, I don't know, owning it to being them. And then obviously he was talking about, yeah, he'll still be coaching next year, but it's like, but he wasn't saying he's still going to be coaching for us. He just said he'll still be coaching. So I think that's, I don't know, it's a poor choice of words, but that kind of, it is though, right? But that kind of says to me that, like, yeah, I love you, but I don't love you.
But you got go.
Yeah, exactly. That's
But
it.
that's Jerry Jones, though, isn't it? He kind of does just skirt around things and say like things like this. You know, he's never like, I don't know. He's just always like, yeah, like, you know,
Such a politician, totally.
like,
Yeah, fair
I'm
point,
so
actually.
good. I'm so good at my interviews, and you're like, no, you're just being annoying. Like, just say what you really want to say, Jerry.
So yeah, I think this is Garrett leaving at the end of the season. Yeah, that's what I think.
But then who? So that's the other part of this. I kind of feel for Jerry Jones because who? Everyone went and got college coaches last year, and look how that's turning out for the Bengals and the Cardinals. And so then who do you get? Oh,
Yeah.
What do you mean Ron Rivera is free?
Yeah.
Oh, what do
He's
you
free?
mean, you know, that some of these other coaches might be free? I think that was part of it. He was waiting to get someone he trusted. This could be that year. This could be that year.
And do you think he has to move fast then? Because I think I was
Yeah.
reading somewhere that like he won't make a decision in the season, so it has to be till the season's over. Doesn't he risk massively these coaches being signed elsewhere? Like,
Yeah.
How do we not know that, you know, Jerry is getting run around right now for like some Dom Perignon and some olives, and he's like and a jet, and he's like, you know, we'll just wait till the end of the season. But you're my guy. You're really my guy. I'm just saying, Jason's my guy.
It absolutely could be. It absolutely could be. So,
Could be.
you know, and that's what I think it was. There was no other coach out there that A, would kowtow to Jerry as much as Jason Garrett does, and B, that maybe he thought was to the level that he needed.
All right. Well, let's cheers to Jason Garrett holding on to his job for as long as he has.
Cheers to you, Jason.
cheers, Jason.
He probably needs to drink after this tenure. Woo.
Yeah, I think he will.
Okay, ladies, before we end the show, we've got some questions from our listeners. This is a two-part question from Graham, who asks, given the whole you can only play the teams on your schedule, are the Patriots a bad 10-2 team, or are they actually good? And can Baltimore win in Foxborough in January should they meet the AFC Championship game?
That Patriots defense is legit. You can the reason they have that record is because of that defense. It is so, but I'm a defense lover, and it's just so pretty the way they play. It's just so fantastic. So no, they're not a bad. Any team that has that record isn't bad. Are they to the Patriots standard we're used to? Not on offense, no. And I saw this huge fight on Twitter. God, love Twitter fights between these two people back and forth about Brady back in 2013 had the same kind of similar stats, but he just looks different. No, he still has the arm velocity, blah, 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 blah. Listen, the dude's 42 years old. He's going to slow down eventually. Just grasp that idea, Patriots fan, and run with it. But no, offensively, they are not fantastic, but they're doing the job they need to do in order for the defense to hold this team up. So yes, they are a good 10-2 team. They're not a bad team. And absolutely, without question, Baltimore can go in there and go up one side and down the other on the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. The Ravens are going to the Super Bowl, people, unless something crazy happens. That it's almost a guarantee at this point.
I agree with the Ravens, because as soon as I saw them against the Rams in the way like they just completely shut down a Super Bowl team from last year and on prime time on Monday, insane.
Yeah, and then the Niners too. Oh, it's going to be good.
Our next question is from Adam Barton. He asks, who will make the Final Four?
Definitely the Ravens will be there. I definitely think they will be there.
Yeah, I do. I think for the AFC Championship game, unless the Chiefs catch some fire, because I still think Patrick Mahomes can pull out some magic. Yes, their defense has been questionable. They have quite a few injuries at this point, and Mahomes just hasn't quite seemed like the golden boy that he was last year. He can still, pull things out of a hat like nobody's business. I love to watch him play. So I think it'll probably be, you know what? I can't answer that question until after I watch the Chiefs-Patriots play this week, because I want to see what the Chiefs can do against that, and if Patrick Mahomes can get over that Patriots defense. But I'm going to say they can. So it could end up being the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. And then those two young quarterbacks, how fun would that be, you guys?
I think I'd fangirl for the whole game.
Oh, it would be so fun. It would be great. And then in the NFC, I think there's
I can't answer.
If you look at the schedules, I think that the Saints will be there. And then whoever doesn't completely get bloodied and beaten on their way to there in the NFC West, I think it'll be San Francisco or Seattle. And so it'll be, but who knows at this point? I don't know. Because I don't trust Green Bay after the complete egg they laid that last couple games. And so,
oh God, I know.
It was terrible. And so I want to see, I don't trust them. So I think whoever comes out beaten black and blue out of the NFC West, I think will end up playing the Saints for the NFC Championship.
And Liz, I wish you luck on that quest between you and Barrett.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. But yeah, Dayna, you said earlier that basically 49ers have to kind of root for us this weekend. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think he'll be into that.
Well, no, I was seeing all his tweets on Monday at the Vikings game, and he was like, "Yes, the Vikings defense are showing up," and I was like, "Oh, great."
He's such a sore loser, though. Like, he does this whole thing. He does it to wind people up because it's like the whole Man United, City, Liverpool thing. He's so pathetic with it. Slash, love you.
Just kidding, husband. But
we'd rather you got your team didn't get to the Final Four. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like if we don't make it, then I would love that. Like I'd love it to be them than anyone else. That's a good wife in me.
See?
Oh well, see, I'm going Ravens at that point.
I know, me too. It's like, so then I have to pick between Earl and Sherm. Oh, sorry, Earl, you're getting on my backing because I love your quarterback. So I would go completely purple at that point for the Ravens. But
oh yeah, I'd be on the Ravens bus. I'd be like, fully there.
Yeah. All right, guys.
And our final question is from Chris Lawton. He asks, Ron Rivera and the Panthers may have parted ways, but he'll probably be back sooner rather than later. Where do you think that might be?
Well, I hear there's a rumor he's having some champagne right now with Jerry Jones, so anywhere. He could end up anywhere, really, a team that's really needing a coach. But maybe I think the Cowboys could be the most potential option.
Yeah, I don't know. Ron Rivera's a pretty strong guy and pretty strong convictions, and I don't know if anyone with strong convictions can work for Jerry Jones. I mean, maybe they can. I don't really know. But I would love to see what he could do in New York with the Giants.
Oh,
yes. And that is not, I mean, no, I'm not trying to diss Pat Shurmur. I think that he got handed a really raw deal. But I think I would love to see what he could do with Daniel Jones, who just has these flashes of great. And he still has Saquon Barkley, and he loves a good run game. I mean, I think it could be a lot of fun in New York City, too.
But how wholesome is Ron Rivera? You know, that picture that they kept showing around of him taking the picture of the players at the Super Bowl. And I'm just like, I know that's
why I'm not so sure Dallas is the best place for him.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah, I'm really wholesome, but hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Hey, Jerry. Yeah, and can I say something really quick? I just want to give a quick shout out to sorry guys. Sorry, that was my phone. I'm so sorry. I'm going to start again. Okay. And can I just take a second? I want to give a quick shout out to Graham. So Graham is one of our biggest fans. He is a fantastic follow on Twitter. He's so sweet. He's a Dolphins fan. God help him. But every single week, every single time we're on here, he, is so nice and always gives us questions and always interacts with us. And so I just want to say thank you, Graham, because he's been a great support since the beginning.
He's a keeper. Cheers, Graham.
Cheers, Graham. And also, we love the fake punt, the fake field goal. Yeah, the Dolphins did.
Oh my God, amazing. The Dolphins! That was the weirdest looking play I'd ever seen, and I loved every minute of it.
I when we did when we went for a field goal on Monday, I was like, "Do you think we're going to do the Dolphins?" And then the guy next to me was like, "No," and I was like, "Yeah, it's not John Ryan, is it?"
No. God bless John Ryan.
that's all for this week's episode of Gridiron and Wine. Thank you to everyone for tuning into our podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and of course, tell a friend about the show. Until next time, thanks for listening.